kick us off?
Sure. Can you say anything more about what the president's plans are going to be this weekend in the face of the shutdown? What's he going to be up to?
So I can say that the president's going to be in Washington, D.C., and he's going to continue to remain in touch with our team here is going to continue to remain in touch with congressional leaders and the members of both parties. Certainly he's going to get updates on what's happening on the Hill.
You dick!
But again, if this is going to be the extreme part of the House Republican, it's going to be their shutdown. So I don't expect any travel outside of D.C. from this president. But of course, if that changes, we certainly would communicate that. But the president will be here. He'll be getting updates from his team and the team more broadly, as you saw. The director was here, and also our Office of Legislative Affairs is going to stay in close touch with congressional leaders on the Hill.
Would he be meeting with anybody in person this weekend?
No, I don't have any meetings or to read out as it relates to Congress. But what I can say, this is something, and we've said it over and over again, and it needs to be repeated. This is something that Congress can fix. This is something that those extreme Republicans in the House can fix. They know how to fix it. We just heard the process that the OMB director went through, right, earlier this summer, late spring, on helping to make that bipartisan deal become a law. And so we should not be here. She shouldn't have been here at this podium talking about a potential shutdown. It should not have been this way. And they can fix it.
On the auto workers strike, so it's expanded now, and I just wondered if the White House is concerned about broader economic impact of a strike as it sort of wears on. I think it's 2 weeks.
So a couple of things, and I've been asked this question about the potential impacts. Look, we always take a look at what a major economic situation the potential impacts could have. Certainly in our economy more broadly, but I will just go back to what I've said. As it relates to the shutdown does not need to happen. These programs that families need should be continuing. We should not be in this position that we're in. This is something that Republicans in Congress and the House more specifically are heading us towards. And you saw there was a chart that was up when we were speaking, and Senate Republicans, Senate Democrats, House Democrats, the president, we're all on the same page. We're all on the same page here. And for some reason, extreme House Republicans refuse. They have refused to get on board here. And as it relates to the shutdown, should not be happening. This can be avoided. They can fix this if they choose.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
Good.
Thank you, Karine. I hear what you're saying, and
About what?
about Republicans,
Yeah.
and that they have to fix this. It's their problem. It's not ours. And that's exactly what the White House said before the deal was struck about raising the debt ceiling. Mm-hmm. Initially, you guys weren't going to touch any kind of negotiation because you said it was solely up to House Republicans, up to Congress to raise the debt ceiling. But then the president did intervene to avoid the U.S. defaulting. So I'm just trying to understand, at what point would the president intervene to avoid a shutdown?
So I understand your question as well. Here's the thing, and I think Director Young did a really good job laying this out. What we are talking about is a bipartisan bill that became law. That's what we're talking about. Something that became law, that was agreed by the five sides, right? The House Republicans, even themselves, 2/3 of them voted for this. This is law. This is an agreement that was already made, that multiple conversations were had about this. This should be simple. This should be easy. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about something that already existed not that long ago, that they all literally voted for in the House and in the Senate in a bipartisan way. Something that I've said before, that's what Americans want us to do here in Congress and in the White House, right? In the federal government, to get things done in a bipartisan way so that it helps American families. And what they're doing, they can fix it. There's no conversation that needs to be had because they literally can fix this.
Okay. Go.
It is their chaos. They can fix this. And what they're putting at risk is our economy, our national security, as we just talked about, the military personnel. It's we have been able, the president in the last 2 years have been able to get our economy back on track, right? We've talked about the 13.5 million jobs. We've talked about unemployment being under 4%. And what they're doing is incredibly irresponsible and it is reckless. So that's the difference. When you're asking me, you don't quite understand or trying to figure out what we're talking about, we already made the deal. That's why we keep saying a deal is a deal. And it's not just, it's majority of Congress that agrees with us, right? When you think about what the Senate actually moved forward and kept their deal. When you think about 77 senators who are moving forward, who voted to move forward with their CR, they are keeping the deal. We're talking about a small fraction of Congress.
Alrighty then.
And that's reckless. That's irresponsible. And that's why we're saying it is not it's not on us to fix. It's not on this president to fix. It is on Congress to fix. And it's not just us. I started a briefing listing out quotes from Republicans in Congress themselves. All right, I'm gonna keep on. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks, Karine. On China, can you clarify if the administration is stepping up engagement with the goal towards a Biden-Xi meeting on the sidelines of APEC in November, including whether there are any plans for Vice Premier He Peng or Foreign Minister Wang Yi to come visit in Washington or meet U.S. officials?
I don't have anything to lay out for you on any meetings or any potential meetings as it relates to the president and our president and President Xi. The president spoke about this very recently and his expectations to have a meeting. Don't have a location for you, don't have a timeline for you at this time. We're expecting the president, as he said, is expected to do so. Just don't have anything to share. And once we do, we certainly will share that with you.
Fire! Call the fire!
Follow up on that. Just a few days ago, Wang Yi seems to suggest that the onus of creating the right environment for a Biden-Xi meeting lies in Washington, to promote cooperation, a summit that promotes cooperation rather than provoke confrontation. How would you respond to that?
We've been very clear. We're not looking to have confrontation with China. We're looking to have competition, and that's what the president has shown these last 2 years. The president spoke about this. He's looking forward to having that conversation with President Xi. I don't have anything to share with you at this time, and I'm just going to leave it there. Go ahead.
Thank you. Does the president plan to take up McCarthy's offer to meet, and does the White House see any value in that?
Look, I'm going to be very clear. The person that McCarthy, or the people that McCarthy needs to talk to, is his own caucus. That's who he needs to have a conversation with, not the president. The president had multiple conversations with Speaker McCarthy very early on to get this bipartisan deal that 2/3 of the House, Republicans House voted on. The conversation is not between the president and McCarthy. What I'm saying very clearly is the conversation needs to happen between Speaker McCarthy and his caucus. That's the fix. That's the chaos that we're seeing, and that's where he needs to focus on.
And how would you describe the president's relationship with Senator Feinstein in recent years? When was the last time they spoke to one another?
So I believe the president reached out back in August. They missed each other, and so the president had a conversation with her chief of staff. That is the last time that the president had reached out. I mean, the president spoke to this, very, I think, very deeply, right? And just moments ago when you all watched his remarks, and they were very close friends. They served together for over a decade. I believe 15 years in the Senate together, and he saw her as a close friend. They, one of the things that they worked on that is an issue right now across the country was assault ban weapons, right? That is something that they worked together on in 1994 and actually saved lives for those 10 years before it sunset in 2004, right? So there's been many things that they've been able to work on together, and so they find, and even as president as well. And so he sees her as a dear friend. It is a sad day certainly for us here, and also for her family, and clearly for the state of California. And I'll just leave it there.